Well, there is no more contentious political issue in modern times than abortion. Almost 50 years after the Supreme Court's landmark decision in Roe v. Wade that gave women the right to choose abortion, states like Missouri now have the latitude to impose restrictions on abortion access. And states are of differing views on the issue. In recent days, New York passed a law to codify a woman's right to access an abortion through the second trimester as outlined in Roe v. Wade. Iowa passed the so-called heartbeat bill, restricting abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected, and was just declared unconstitutional. Perhaps because of state restrictions, lower unwanted pregnancy rates, better education about sex, or a combination of these factors, the U.S. abortion rate is the lowest it has been since Roe v. Wade in 1973. In 2017, the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services reported that 3,903 abortions were performed in the Show Me state, and a total of 6,790 abortions were performed on Missouri residents regardless of location. Nationally, almost 90% of all abortions occur in the first 12 weeks. But if you view abortion as the taking of innocent human life, these numbers are still too high. And this goes for one local Republican representative. He thinks the Missouri Constitution should have an amendment outlawing all abortions in the Show Me state. And that representative joins me tonight, Mike Moon. Good evening, sir. Tell us why you think this amendment is needed.
We all know today that if someone commits a capital crime and they're convicted and the sentence is capital punishment, that their due process must be exercised before their life is taken. And so I believe the same should be done so in the life of a developing human baby. Embryologists agree that once a human egg is fertilized by a male sperm, that at that exact moment, there's a DNA strand created. In Maryland versus King, I believe in 1996, there was a case that showed that a sample of DNA is unique to a human individual. And so with that in mind, at fertilization, I believe we have a unique human individual.
But Representative Moon, not everyone seeking an abortion does so for convenience. And there are cases where a woman's life may be at risk during delivery, right?
Less than 1% of all pregnancies today result in a risk of the mother's life. And so what about all these other hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of abortions that occur every year? What about those? Is it a matter of convenience that they're allowing this baby's life to be ended? And if it's not, then I think there needs to be some answers to those questions. So, for example, if a woman presented herself at a physician's office and the determination was made that the mother's life was at risk, then how about this as an alternative? What if the physician decided to deliver that developing baby as opposed to have an intent to go in and just snuff the life out and then nurture that life, and perhaps it could live?
And as you might imagine, representatives of the organization behind me don't agree with Representative Moon. I'm joined tonight by M'Evie Mead, who works at the St. Louis area Planned Parenthood, for her reaction. M'Evie, what do you think about Representative Moon's amendment?
Missouri's statutes are filled with medically unnecessary restrictions. We are one of the most restricted states, which has left Missouri with only one place, a center in St. Louis, where women can access abortion. So Missouri legislature, in addition to Representative Moon, the leadership has been quite obsessed with trying to restrict access to abortion in Missouri and birth control. We've got a real problem with the legislative leadership here not listening to the majority of Missourians on this issue. And this is especially outrageous when we have all these other problems related to healthcare, maternal and infant mortality rates that are higher than the majority of other states, and in some of them on the rise. There are things that this legislature, that Representative Moon, could be doing that would actually help the health and safety of Missourians, and yet he is trying to get attention and do damage to Missouri women's health with these extreme proposals.
All right, Representative Moon, now Republicans have supermajorities in the State House and Senate, so how much support has your caucus given this amendment?
Very little. Well, I'll just be frank with you. There are a lot of us who campaign on the platform. We're pro-life, and we want to abide by our party's platform, a Missouri Party platform, to say we want to ban all abortions. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, that's a pretty tough sell when you're actually talking about enacting a bill or proposing an amendment to that effect. But that's the truth.
M'Evie, how do you interpret the legislature's lack of support for the amendment?
So I believe that the legislature looks at some of the same research that we do and knows that the people of Missouri support Roe v. Wade and don't want their politicians making these extreme intrusive efforts into a woman's reproductive life. And so they don't want to add themselves to the list of states, the growing list of states that have rejected this extreme measure at the ballot box.
Representative Moon and M'Evie Mead, we appreciate your time tonight. And we'll be back after this.